The subject matter in this episode of Whimsicast is not for everybody. Listener discretion is advised. If you had to think about it, what's your earliest memory from childhood?
The one that jumps out, that I only recently experienced, was a memory of childhood. I was raped viciously and repeatedly by two of my cousins, my uncles and one cousin. And we were probably in a hayloft for several hours. And they took turns. And I was so limp when it was over. I stopped fighting. That's how come it went on so long. I kept fighting it. And they wanted to submit. They wanted to put me in that submissive role where I couldn't fight back, so it could be all the more taken advantage of. That when I came down the ladder of the hayloft, as soon as my feet hit the ground, I went limp. I had fought so much, and there was so much physical violence involved. And the only justification I got out of that was when my grandmother saw the hay coming out of my pocket, my pants, and the wet spot in my pants, that she told their father what had happened, and they got beatings for it. And that was the only closure I had on it. And I felt guilty. It was my fault that they got the beatings. And that confusion led to a lot of denial.
Whimsicast. Unpredictable encounters with voices from the unknown.
My name is Robert.
Okay.
I'm from Richmond, Virginia, originally. I'm 58 years old. At the age of around 32, I moved to South Carolina, and I spent the past 28 years down there, whatever the math works out. And I just came back to Virginia to find a new world and a new leaf in life. And I have to find out now that there's more leaves in life to turn.
Okay.
Someone asked me just recently, what was it like when you were a kid? And where'd you grow up? And I said, well, quite simply, my earliest memory is Oregon Hill, here in Virginia, just inside of Richmond. And we were so close to the penitentiary when I was a kid that when they would electrocute somebody, the lights in my house would go dim. And there was another prison that we had downtown later on in life that was very easy to stand on the sidewalk and have the inmates drop baskets and strings down the window, and we put stuff in it, and they pull it back up to themselves, you know.
Like what? What would you just put it in?
Most of the people, well, not me, I would see it happen. It would be weed, drugs, weapons, money that you're not supposed to have, cigarettes you're not supposed to have. You know, and the whores would just stand at waiting for them, you know, pass down the basket, you know, because they knew that the people on the outside, that the girls would be taken care of by the rest of them. Gang members. I remember when also another kid, I prospected for one of the local motorcycle clubs. We were a club, we weren't a gang. But you wouldn't believe that today. I'm so passive and easygoing. But I was a neighborhood bully. Whatever my oldest brother would learn in the military, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, he'd come home and teach me. And I would, of course, in turn, go out and practice on the neighborhood, the kids in the neighborhood and school. I was a bully. I was never a dealer, but I could manipulate deals and get paid for it. And weed or window paint or blotter. We did a lot of acids when I was a kid. Those are all acids. They're derivatives of LSD. Yeah. Psychotropics. They're psychedelics. I take psychotropics now. Those are psychedelics. But yeah, I've only done a few. I've had very few trips, and none of them were good. I never had a good trip.
Tell me about your mom.
Passive. My mom, beautiful woman. She was gifted with sight. She would know if one of us kids were to go out and get cut before we came in the back door, you need a Band-Aid, don't you? And she wasn't nowhere near us. It happened a mile away. She knew what we were going through, all of us children, emotionally. I remember one time, and this is how she resolved it. I was in bed, and I would close my eyes and saw thousands of faces, eyes looking at me. And they were asking me different things, and they were talking jibber-jabber. I call it jibber-jabber. And I couldn't focus on all the questions they were asking. There was just too many of them. So I screamed out to my mother, and what her kids do. And I lived up, my room was upstairs, and she had to come upstairs, and she stood at the top of the stairs. My head of my bed was right there. And I told her what was going on. She, Robert, don't worry, those are just angels in your thoughts. Is all that. Your angels in your thoughts, is what she said. And you'll be all right. And for some reason, angels in your thought has stuck with me for a long time. Men have, all men, have a sensitive nature about them that they learn from their mother's passion. My mother loved us children to a flaw. We learned, I learned compassion by watching what my mother went through in her love for us kids. The things that she would have to do to please and pacify my father just for us kids. And mother used to love reading the Bible. And I used to like sitting with her and reading the Bible because I could look over her shoulder and listen to her. It was pretty neat. Yeah. Earliest memory of my mom was that bedroom experience. The rest of the memories, other than her concern for our well-being, what she would do for Christmas, it was amazing. The beatings that she went through for us kids. Oh man, she was battered by my old man. He would bounce her into the wall with a backhand, and as she was falling forward towards the floor, he'd grab her and throw her into the wall again, and this time punch her in the face. She was shorter than me. I'm a half a head taller than her, and I'm only 5'5", and my daddy's only 5'6". So we're a short family. Man, he was very vicious, my father, very vicious.
Why?
The way he was raised.
Do you have alcohol problems?
Alcohol, drugs. Well, he was into drugs. For him was alcohol. Okay. My mother was an alcoholic. I can't call them an alcoholic because the 12-step recovery group that I'm in, only they can say they're alcoholic. All I can do is identify the symptoms of alcoholism in myself.
Okay. And
I learned that from learned pattern behaviors from them. And so I can't call them an alcoholic. I only call myself an alcoholic. I just know learned pattern behavior.
Hey everybody, it's Steven. And this is the part of the podcast where if we had an advertiser, we would be telling you more about them. Unfortunately, we don't have any advertisers yet. So if you're an advertiser, or you know somebody who's an advertiser, please let them know. We're sort of looking for that sort of thing. Thanks. Now let's get back to the show. Late teenage years.
Drugs and alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't get your high school diploma. You got your GED later, right?
Yeah, if I'd have graduated high school, I was what in those days they call functionally illiterate. My signature when I wrote my first check was, my dad taught me to write checks, was a picture I put from my head I put on paper. I could barely read D and Spot, books, Spot, Jane, were the type of my reading level. Was my reading skills. As
a 17,
when I graduated.
Yeah.
Because they gave me the opportunity to stay in school. Not really. My special ed teacher told me later on what was happening. And I was called to the guidance counselor's office one day, and my first wife, the mother of my children, that I have up here in Virginia, I was called to the office one day, and they gave me an offer. Either, do you want to stay in school or you want to go to the military? I was thinking about getting married, so I said, I'm leaving school. This is wasting my time anyway. It has been for years. So I left. That was my ticket out. I was in 11th grade. I had a 12th grade homeroom. I had 10th grade classes that I didn't go to because they were all in special ed. I was in special ed. Was first introduced to the learning system.
Okay.
And while we were kids with ADD. That's all it was. But they didn't want to call it. We were just rebellious kids. I didn't go in the military.
Right.
I got married instead. It was uphill battle. We both got married to get away from me from a dysfunctional family, hers from an overbearing, loving so-called family that her father was an ex-cop and wanted to know everything she did, where she went, and I got investigated by him. He had my whole rap sheet. He hated me. He despised Erling for what my family. We used to run shine. My daddy would know me. Yeah, we had a bad name for years in the police. But yeah, we left both of us mutually to get away from the crap that we were getting at home. That relationship lasted for about 8 years. If that long, if I can remember. Not even that long.
So, what have you been doing for the last 30-some years?
Existing.
40 years, I guess?
Existing. I have been existing. I have wasted so much of my life in drugs and alcohol and bad relationships. Being a people pleaser and manipulator, thief, liar, con artist, baffling everybody, bullshit myself. I believe my own lie. I'm pathological in my lying. Pathological. I believe my own lies so I don't have to remember them. They become a thought in my head I can't forget. I'm pathological, or was pathological. I still could be today, but I'm too honest to be it anymore.
Too honest to be
I'm too honest to be a pathological liar anymore.
Well, that's a good problem to have, isn't it?
For me, it works for me.
Yeah.
Very few things worked for me ever in my life until I got sober and started thinking. So, good medication. I think the biggest change in my life, out of all the hospital stays that I've had, misdiagnosis and medications, the only breakthrough I ever had was when I was actually confirmed with other than a borderline personality, an actual identity crisis. Identities. I have 4 now. The identities that I deal with, that I'm aware of for years, Robert, Monkey, and Little Gene.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Robert, the Monkey, and Little Gene. Robert is me. He's the middleman. Okay, that's Robert. For years he was the face guy. I call him the face guy. Monkey was a nickname as a child because most children break out of there. I've heard of many children break out of the crap, and Monkey was an escape artist. He climbed everything, and before I could walk, most children, I was walking. When most children are trying to crawl on one side, I was already clinging to the bars of my crib and climbing to my feet. It was very much like climbing down that ladder, just the opposite. I walked before I crawled, and it wasn't until that incident that I started crawling the rest of my life. I crawled my way through life, clawing for acceptance, which was something more than a fleeting moment of embarrassment and ridicule. Everything that should be an attaboy if I give myself was more along the lines of you shouldn't have done it that way, you shouldn't have said that, you don't deserve that. These were the voices I heard in my head. A lot of people hear voices.
You said Robert is the middleman.
Robert's the middleman.
Monkey is over here.
Yeah.
What's the opposite side?
Little Gene was the protector.
Okay.
He was the scrap, the fighter.
Let's hear more about that.
Wait, Little Gene?
Yeah.
Being the protector, he was the reason I got into so many fistfights as a kid. The reason that many of us in my generation and my father's generation became bullies and badasses because we learned that as a child. We were beat. You do it this way. You don't do it that way, you're going to get beat. You do it that way anyway, you get beat for it. And when I come home from school, he used to line us up, my daddy did, for spankings, whippings, and beatings. It would always start out the same way. This is for what you think you got away with today. You know? And many a time we left